Welcome to the Insurance Marketing Organization podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Green interviews IMO experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their IMOs, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Green.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Laurel Herrera of Herrera Insurance Marketing and Quality Insurance. Laurel, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Seth. Good morning. Thank you for having me on here. And it's
All right.
X-Telecom, not Quality Insurance Marketing, just in case.
You got to update your LinkedIn profile.
Just in case, man.
All right. Well, let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started in the business?
Man, I grew up in the restaurant business, and when my father passed away, I had an option to sell the business or keep with that business, and I decided to sell it off. And in the time that I sold it off, I was just doing random jobs. I had some money from a life insurance policy that was paid to me, and I really was in a dark place. And one of my longtime clients at the restaurant, just a successful financial guy, he was a Charlie Schwab executive or retired from Charles Schwab, but he was real young, and he would frequent our restaurant a lot. And he had a house up here in NorCal on this beautiful lake. And it was just intriguing to me because he was young, he had the nice car, and it just couldn't compute in my mind what he did. When I was going through that moment of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I bumped into him. And at that moment in time, I was in pest control. And he asked me, he says, "What are you doing?" I was on a uniform, with my badge, for pest control. And honestly, Seth, there's nothing wrong with being in pest control. There's a lot of money in that business. But I was embarrassed with him in particularly, because he was asking me what I was doing. And I shared with him what I was doing, and he really drilled in on me. He says, "Dude, what are you doing?" He says, "You can do way better than that. There's, some opportunity in financial services that I think you'd be perfect. You got no college education. I know you can be a good sales guy. Let me set you up." And he set me up with a company called American Income Life. He knew the guy behind it, and they got me licensed. And he really, really knew what he was talking about, because I enjoyed it. I flourished in it. And, that first year just changed my life compared to the moment in time that, I bumped into the gentleman, So that's how I started doing this. And then once I started getting, selling insurance, I really saw the impact of paying a claim is. Growing up in a low income neighborhood myself and being a minority, you see the impact these claims do to the neighborhood. $5,000-$10,000 to pay for a funeral cost these days doesn't sound like much for someone like yourself that's super successful. But to someone that's broke, zero money in the bank, and they lose a loved one, ooh, man, that's powerful. You gain a friend forever. When I saw that, it really just inspired me, and I understood the whole cycle of what I was selling, insurance. And man, once I caught that bug, the rest was history. Shortly after that, we started duplicating ourselves with other agents. And it's easy, right? You have someone that's doing well in sales. They're going to, your upline, your manager's going to reach out to you, and they're going to want to put you in some form of training, leadership role. And that's really how I got into it, bro. In fact, right now, I'm out of office space for 10 extra stations for exactly this: insurance, sales, service, customer service, and the list goes on, the things that we do nowadays. But it all starts from there, not just selling a product, but watching it really help the end user. And it's tacky to say that, because, people nowadays are so caught up in sales, but how many people really stop and see, okay, let me see how my service is doing? It's like they make the sale and they bail. For me, it was then, man, and ever since then, that's been our passion for
Talk a little
myself and my
bit
team.
about how you've evolved to now work with IMOs and help them improve their results.
That's a good question. So, for years, I was a face-to-face agent. And 10 years ago, I was doing really good as a door knocking agent in California, Florida, Texas, and Illinois. And face-to-face is an amazing way to sell insurance. It's always been that way. But for us, we had a challenge in how can we generate more leads? Now, 10 years ago, internet's good, but not as it is now. So we were doing, newspaper inserts and some form of direct marketing, direct mail marketing, and television advertising. Television advertising is great, but it's this. It's this. You get into a election year, it's done. It's very challenging to consistently generate leads. TV. It's good to have, but it's hard to predict. Direct mail is a little bit better in terms of predictable returns, right? And that's the way it was for us for a long time. So 10 years ago, I decided to break away from a captive situation. And I said, I got to be able to do my own thing, my own agency. I got to make my own calls. I want to go in the direction of me becoming my own IMO 10 years ago. But I got hit with the reality. The direct mail that we were sending out, for every 1,000 pieces of mail, before we were getting 2% returns in California and across the board, the states that we were involved in, we started noticing that more and more people were entering final expense. Geez, man, it started hurting our direct mail campaigns big time. We started seeing them go down to 1.5%, 1%. God, now we're at 1%, dropping $375, $500 per 1,000 pieces of mail that we're sending out. Seth, at that point in time, it was like, it's the over of something good for me, man. That's how it felt. And I noticed that direct mail was going to be impossible for me to deliver on a per lead basis at a per cost basis to my agent. I couldn't afford to take the hit of these, rates being dropped. And that's when we realized we needed to do something. And we picked up the phone and says, we can sell burial insurance over the phone. And by doing so, we'll be able to work in multi-states and no longer have to worry about the constrictions of direct mail. And my goodness, I'm going to get a cheaper TV ad because I'm no longer tied to areas. Yellow Pages sounds nice now because it opens up more territory. And we started that path of learning telephone sales. And we started that at a necessity. And over the years now, we've been preaching this concept of selling insurance over the phone, not just as something for me as a necessity, but bad neighborhoods, climate, or how about those folk that are semi-retired and they don't want to go out and door knock anymore. So we started promoting it in that nature. And then we had the crisis that hit us, 2020, and that changed the game. Agencies that hated the concept of phone sales, all of a sudden were forced to talk about it. IMOs that before hated us, now all of a sudden, now they're reaching out to us. And that's how today, we're helping groups, not because, we're the greatest thing ever, but just because we were doing it. You understand?
I do.
Always
I missed something.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your work with IMOs now. What are they hiring you for? What are you helping them do?
So what we do now for them is we bring a sales process, a complete sales process to the IMO, not just selling, but closing. But in that, there's also a lot of issues that insurance carriers hate, non-taken ratios, persistency issues. So we're showing these guys something everybody's always known, and that's just a complete sales cycle from start to finish, and showing them follow-up, something people forgot about a long time ago. Our industry's based on follow-up. So in a way, we're correcting something that's already been there all these years in our industry. We're just correcting it enforcing it, and really talking about the real distribution. And it's simple concept, Seth, but it's working. And on top of that, we help them with the marketing, which is important.
Absolutely. So were you
We
offering a training program for the IMOs to offer to
we
their
are
agents?
we are. So what we do is nowadays, with so many gurus in the space, they're experts and they want to sell you their programs, right? What we do on the marketing side is, hey, Seth, we got a way to sell this product. If you follow our setup, we guarantee you a 20% conversion ratio guarantee on first contact. You got to follow every step of the way, literally. And if you follow our follow-up and our nurturing process, you're gonna see a healthy persistency issue. And we do that with agents, no charge. And we say, hey, you buy leads from our company, and if you buy 100, we guarantee that 20% of those are going to convert to apps. And when you get to that 100th transfer, that 100th call, and you're at 18 apps, we're in the trenches with you. We're going to keep sending you the rest of those for free on us. Why? Because we offer the training. We believe in it. And that's really how we worked at it. We don't charge for the training. The guys that trained me didn't charge me, and we just give it away for free. We stand behind the service. Obviously, there's a cost to generate leads. Marketing's not, cheap, but that's what we do, and it's worked.
That is a beautiful business model because you're hitting both the steak and the sizzle, right? The sizzle that everybody
Absolutely.
wants is the leads. The steak that they actually need is a training on how to properly convert them. I love that you've combined it both together so that they have to get the training in order to make the leads work.
That's right. That's right. I've been in this business 18 years, and no marketing company could care less about how we do in sales. They sell you the lead, what you call it, the sizzle, right? They sell you the sizzle. But then as soon as you pay them, they bounce. As soon as you bring them with any complaint, even if it's constructive complaints, it's you, it's not them. And I got sick of that. And I said, look, if I'm going to be in the marketing business, I'm going to put myself out there too. And we're going to put our name on it and also put a guarantee that makes sense. We're going to put some teeth into it. And it's worked. It's really worked. And it's nothing new that we're doing. We're just taking people back to, salesmanship skills, man, the way it used to be. And I'll share this story with you, Seth. Why have we done it that way? Because you said it's a beautiful model, and I appreciate you saying that. But let me explain to you why. At least 10 years, I was at this, this seminar convention type deal with an insurance carrier that I was a part of. It was a private small insurance company owned by the Powell family. And I was able to go to this seminar. And at this seminar, it's all mainly carriers talking. And they're, sitting up there, and one of the gentlemen gets up there and asks, why isn't the youngsters joining this business? This is lucrative. This is the financial services business. What's wrong? The average age of an agent these days is a 59-year-old male. What's the problem here, guys? It impacted me, that statement, because I never thought about it. One, I was a young person to start off. When I started in this career, I was 25 years old, very young for this industry. And this other gentleman gets up and says, the distribution system is broken. And he impacted me. He says, when we started selling 60s to 70s, we would go out there and cultivate our own relationships. We'd go and collect the premium. If there was a complaint, the whole neighborhood found out about it. We had to go out and make it right. But we offered training at every step of the way. That training has been hindered over the years. Nothing against MLM insurance distribution, Seth. Nothing against it. They're helping families. But let's be honest. Can you train an agent fully in our business, in this industry, in a week, in 3 days, in 2 days? It's tough if you don't have the right mentorship, the right training, and the right leadership that's, leading those folks. And that hit me, man. Right then and there, I said, that right there is what we've lost. And if somehow we can go back to that, combined with technology, then, I think we can do something really special in terms of attracting more people to our space and, just keep helping families. And that's been really our mission, bro.
That is awesome. Do you have any idea, have you tracked how many agents you've touched and how many consumers you've helped?
I don't know the exact number on both, but I know it's thousands in agents and in consumers. I want to say over 80,000 final expense clients in 18 years. Yeah, it's a significant number how many policies we've sold in burial insurance. It's thousands, bro.
That is fantastic. With all the success you've achieved, what's your biggest challenge now?
The biggest challenge today is carriers opening up more of virtual voice signature processes. That's our biggest challenge. A lot of insurance companies only have an email process. So if you want to sell a policy, it has to be through an email. That's a challenge. It's not a big challenge. I'm grateful at where it's at, but if you ask me what's a challenge, it's that. I would love to see more voice signature. And also, I would love to see, how about a video voice signature? That right there, I think.
That's the next generation of technology.
Right? I mean, that right there is the biggest challenge. Before, it was a voice signature, and we got that. We were able to help, thousands of families with it. But today is, how can they simplify it more? I would say is the most challenging part. And, also integrating other products is challenging, because agents have a certain amount of time a day. And how do they really develop a broker relationship, right? If they have a certain amount of time a day and selling all these other products, is another challenge. How can we make it easier for them to sell those other products? Like terms, right? Term is really tied into e-app process. How can we make it easier? So that stuff, man. But it's exciting, because I know that's just going to get better and better as technology goes.
Absolutely. Well, your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Really helping agents, have success. I still get on the phones every day myself, and just watching an agent that tells me, Laurel, the economy's bad. Laurel, these people aren't buying. Laurel, I love that challenge. And I love just jumping on the phone saying, okay, Seth, bring me your leads. Let's get on the phones. Let's start dialing. That right there is probably what I get most of my days, that part, helping. Because agents are looking for breakthroughs, right? And how many agents have come to me in the past and says, I'm done with this business? I mean, 90% of agents fail year one, Seth. So I get a lot of that. And I love the challenge of showing them that, hey, it works. Let's get on the phone and let me show you. That right there is what I find the most gratification right there. That right there.
That is
Powerful.
beautiful. Well, we know your time is greatly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. For our folks who are watching or listening, want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you?
They can go on YouTube, Seth. Laurel Herrera, they can find me on there. We try to stay consistent on content. All my information, they're able to find it on there. I'll also drop my phone number, 707-900-1411. And my website is www.xtelecom.biz. And they can definitely find us there.
All right. Well, then this has been Seth Green with Laurel Herrera. Laura, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. Peace. Bye.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.